Question. That's a really good question. When I talk about thin nerves, I want my young dogs to conquer. I like what they call it the Doberman rules of 7. I want my dogs to understand when they're young, conquering tactile, conquering visual, and conquering auditory stimuli. So when we're playing these games, maybe I'm working on the slick floor in the house with a young dog, and my wife has the coffee grinder going off. They're learning to conquer things in drive. I like what Michael Ellis does. He has that swimming pool with all those water bottles with those young Malinois. Puts the food in there, so all these bottles are hitting them in that little kid's pool as they're eating. I'm like, man, that's great, Michael. That's genius. Another thing is like when a dog's barking, plywood and those empty water bottles, you glue them on there, so the dog's doing a hold and bark on that crinkly surface. So the more things that my dog can conquer environmentally, the better they are. But now genetically, they might have thin nerves. I have to teach them to conquer it. So when I say a dog is nervy, I'm like, what's the connotation? Is it nervy with people? Is it nervous in new environments? Is it nervous on a slick floor? So there's a lot of reasons that will cause a dog's nerves to go thin. Is it nighttime? There could be a lot of reasons. I don't mind that you have thin nerves, but let's conquer this together. So you don't want to do what Sue and I were talking about, flooding. So let's pretend a lady has a fear of spiders. And I say, I have an idea, let's tie her down and pour thousands on her. I can actually make it worse than put one spider in there, like you said, depends what kind. One spider in the closet with some gold bullion in the back. Can you get that gold bullion? Is the reward high enough to face that fear? So I don't want my dog. So what's the worst thing I can do? Because almost all working dogs go through a fear period. Usually it's between 7 months and 12 months. They just kind of start saying, it's like your dog is in the backyard and one day it sees the wheelbarrow and jumps and barks. The wheelbarrow's been there the last 7 months, but they just start noticing things. What's the worst? Like I was walking this dog I had named Nico. I was walking by in Livingston and there was a fire hydrant and there was a plastic bag about this time of year blowing in the wind at night. He saw that and he thought a ghost was there.
Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah. What's the worst thing I could do? It's okay. It's a plastic bag. Touch is confirmation, right? So I don't touch him. Yeah.
Poor baby.
Yeah, poor baby. The second worst thing you do is walking by in low stimuli and just walking by it. The best thing to do is conquer it and drive. I always have food or a toy with me when I'm with a young dog. He saw it, started barking. Hey, buddy. We start playing. I'm throwing it. I'm throwing the toy right by it. We grab it. We come closer. Then we run away from it. We come closer as his butt's going towards it because he's pulling. Pretty soon he's biting on top of the plastic bag. That's conquering things in drive. I do not want to conquer things out of drive. Because the more a dog wins, when I'm working a dog in aggression, there's a little bird on their shoulder that says, I can't do it. I can't do it. The more that dog wins, that bird shuts up. I mean, it starts getting quiet. So my job as a helper when I'm working a dog in protection is to what? Lose every single time. In fact, if I won, I really, really screwed up. Like real bad. And I did this probably like 15 years ago. I just misread it. I told the lady I was wrong. I was working this, her name was Kathy, and I was working her Dutch Shepherd. And the female was showing nice. And I gave the dog a bite, and I just waved the stick too fast. And it spooked the dog. And it wasn't a big, I didn't do a big mess up. I got the dog right engaged again. But I'm like, note to self, play it safe, Joel. If I don't know the dog, what did I do with Natalie's dog? I go away from the dog with the long leash. So you guys remember Natalie's dog yesterday? When I had the leash and I'm working on the stick from a distance, that dog saw the threat. And don't ask me why, but a lot of female Rottweilers see the stick as a lead pipe. I don't know why. It's a lot of the female Rottweilers, I've just seen it. They look at the stick as a lead pipe. So we have people with Rottweilers that are young, right when they're eating, I like the clatter stick. Right when they're eating, the clatter stick's just kind of going. Just kind of going.
So they get totally used to it.
So they just get used to it and they're just going. And pretty soon we're playing. because the drive, if it's the left, the helper that wears the sleeve on the left arm, I bring them this way and they're just clattering this way and they pull, yes, and come back and we're playing, clatter stick, yes. So I like my dogs to conquer auditory stimuli, a hair dryer, a vacuum cleaner, coffee grinder, I don't know, whatever. I like visual stimuli. My parents used to have this stuffed yellow lab that looked like a real yellow lab. You bring it in the corner, your dog sees it, and like, what is that? It's not moving, and they smell it. And we playing over the dog then, we were just playing. It's great that I like the tactile that we're talking about, the water bottles and